Well, welcome to the Good Talk Podcast, where we remind you of the joy of life, the love of God, and the possibilities that lie ahead. Pete and Jordyn here.
Woohoo!
Yeah, you ready? This is the final episode of our Relationship Goals series.
I am so ready.
It's been a lot of fun.
It has been fun. I've enjoyed it.
I've really enjoyed it. For the first time ever, too, today's content is completely created by you guys.
Yeah.
It's just a Q&A, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. It's episode 18, the Q&A of relationship goals. So as always, we remind you guys to share, to rate, subscribe if you haven't already. To those of you that have, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to watch this thing just continue to grow, and you guys just keep sharing it with people, and it's just really awesome.
Yeah,
So
thank you
guys
so much.
We're going to play a game again.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about this series is I've finally talked you into playing games.
So, yeah, sure. These are not like Monopoly, though, which are the games you like to play that are 3 hours long or really old. So I appreciate the freshness. Actually, these have mostly been my ideas, if we are to give the credit.
They are. Yeah, I give you all the credit.
This one we're doing is Battle of the Sexes. So this episode is Q&A. So I was like, let's do fun Q&A.
I love it.
And it's going to be questions that like either men predominantly know over women, and then same.
Yep. So
vice
I
versa.
have 4 questions for you. You have 4 questions for me. My 4 questions I'm hoping you can answer.
Okay, let's try. You want to go first?
You want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
Question number 1. In poker, what do you call a sequence of 5 cards all in the same suit? Sequence of 5 cards all in the same suit.
I've never played poker. Full House.
That's a really good guess, but no. It's a straight flush.
Oh, shoot. That's like the Parent Trap where she's like, what's a royal flush? Is that when it's all, she's like, I present to you a royal flush. Anyways, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
What are kitten heels?
What are kitten heels?
Kitten heels.
Is it something you wear? Can you answer that?
No, I'm not answering anything.
Kitten heels.
Kitten heels.
I'm going to say kitten heels are flats. A pair of shoes that are flats, no heel.
No, that's a good try though.
What
Why
is
was that your guess?
I don't know.
Just
It's
'cause
like
they're little?
a kitten just is real quiet when they walk, and like heels
Okay.
are loud. So
Kitten heels are like shoes that have a small, really short, skinny heel. So they're
that's
little.
basically what I was saying.
No, flats. You said
But
flats.
I meant, you know what I meant.
No.
I was headed in the right
no,
direction.
you were not even close. It has a heel. It's just little. Okay.
All right, you ready for your question?
Mm-hmm.
What short-handed flat metal tool do you use to spread or smooth out plaster?
Oh, it's that little like thing. you know.
What's it called?
It's a spatula.
That's really close. No, that's what you flip hamburgers with. It's called a trowel.
How is that really close? It's not even a little close.
Well, you were close in that you could visualize it. You just couldn't name it.
It's called a trowel.
Yeah.
Like your
T-R-O-W-E-L.
pants, like my drop your trowel.
No, that's trousers.
Oh,
Trowel.
is trowel short for trousers?
I think so.
Oh my gosh. Okay, name 5 Kardashians.
Kim Kardashian.
Okay, like name the sisters. That's the easiest.
Kim Kardashian.
And you can name like Jenner. You know, like
Bruce
Kardashians.
Jenner?
No. Like okay, sure. I don't think
What's the mom's
The name's
name?
not Bruce anymore.
Miss Kardashian,
No.
the mom. Is it Brittany? Something like that.
No.
There's Kim Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian. Kim Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian. That's all I got.
It's literally 2. Okay, Kim, Khloe, Courtney.
Yes, Courtney.
Kendall, Kylie.
Kylie, of
Chris
course.
is the mom.
Sorry, ladies. I'm sure they
They're
listen
gonna
to this
listen
podcast.
to this and be so mad.
And
they are.
I apologize.
Sorry, ladies. Okay.
You know, I've never seen that show, not one time.
Yeah.
Not
I
even
believe
like
that.
2 minutes of it. I've just never seen it.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Keep going here. Where would you use a rotor-rooter?
Rotor-rooter, is that plumber?
Maybe.
Plumbing?
Where would you use it?
And on your toilet
For?
clogged?
Yes. That's good. That's it. I mean, basically, it's for a clogged drain. I guess you'd use it in a toilet. Yeah, you can use it. I've used one in a toilet before. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I got one.
You got one.
Yay. Okay. Third one for me. What does it mean to contour your face?
Oh, to contour your face is when you put makeup on.
In what way, though? Like, it has a science to it. Like, there's a method
Yeah.
to
You
contouring.
contour it.
What does it mean? Actually, the Kardashians, someone made this, like, a thing.
It's where you make your eyes real dark.
Is it?
Yep.
No. Contouring is like when you take makeup and you make your face shape look a little bit different because of the shadows and the shapes you're creating with makeup.
So it makes you look like you're walking around with that your duck lip face, like your little...
Not at all. It literally has nothing to do with that. Oh, okay. Continue.
All right, you ready for your last one?
Yes.
What baseball team calls Fenway Park their home?
Fenway Park?
Yep.
I know that name really well.
Oh, good for you.
Is it the Dodgers?
No. It's the Boston Red Sox.
Oh.
Good try, though. All right, so I have to get this one to tie or I lose.
You should know this because in the past year, you've had to look at these items to know a little bit about them. What is the shape of a princess cut diamond?
Oh, the princess cut. Yes. A princess cut it's like this. Zoop, zoop.
Okay, say it out loud for the podcast listeners.
I know. So those on YouTube can see this. It's that. What is that shape? It's like
a diamond you're making?
A double-sided triangle.
A double-sided triangle.
Yeah, it's like that, and then like that.
That would be called a diamond.
Two.
So, are you saying it's a diamond?
A princess cut. Oh, it's kind of like a teardrop.
No, you're wrong.
Go.
It's a square.
Dadgummit.
Sorry for your loss.
I lost.
Sorry for your loss.
What was the one you got? A rotor. I knew that was too easy. I literally threw that one out there because I was like, she needs to get one.
You should have. There are several you could have gotten.
Shoot fire.
Shoot fire. Okay. Well, this episode is actual Q&A.
Yes.
That you guys submitted via our social media. So if you guys don't follow us on socials, we kind of engage a lot there. So Pete actually put out a question this past week asking for your questions, and
we got a bunch.
And some of them were duplicates or there were themes. So we tried to pick.
I tried to build them around some themes. I'll just be honest. There's a lot we didn't have time to answer. We try to keep these episodes around 30 minutes. So maybe we go back another time and do a bonus episode on it or something. But so we've got 5 or 6 of these I think we can get to. And I picked ones I really hope these would kind of be really helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So question number 1, and this, I'm just going to say, the question is, how do we improve our communication? And there were a lot of different variants on this question, a lot of different forms. And so I'm going to give you 5 quick things. Sounds like a lot.
To improve communication.
5 quick things on improving communication.
As a couple.
Yes, as a couple. Or some of these would apply to any relationship.
Okay, but these Q&As are kind of supposed to be surrounding relationships, if that's helpful.
The first one is just ask for and give your partner full attention. Mm-hmm. The ask for is important. I think, if, especially these days, I think COVID has changed a lot. So a lot of couples are stuck in the house, are able to be in the house together a lot.
Get to.
Hashtag get to. So I think what happens, there's a lot more talking than there used to be. And so sometimes it's casual talk and you can do the casual talk while you're also on Instagram or while you're watching TV or while you're doing dishes, while you're whatever. But if this is like a serious conversation, I think it needs to begin with asking for and giving your partner full attention. Mm-hmm. And again, during COVID, what I've noticed is one of the issues you and I have, because we both work together all the time, or at least in the same room, even though we're sometimes working on different projects, is that I'll launch into a conversation with you without thinking about maybe you are in deep thought on something with work, where in the past I would have to text you and be like, hey, Jordyn, when you get a sec, hit me up. And now I can just yell at you like, hey.
Yeah.
And that's true, isn't it right?
And I do that to you too. And we just kind of are on different patterns. Like you, when I wake up in the morning, now that I have a little one in my stomach, I sleep a little bit later than I normally do. And you're like in the zone when I wake up, and I just come in like, hey, morning, like talking. And it's like we have learned, we're not perfect at all at this, but it's, when I say this, it's going to ring a bell when I always say, let me know when you have a second.
Yep.
Let me know when you have a second. And that's just like the casual way. Of course, if you have something serious, it's like, hey, when you have some time, I need to talk to you.
Yep.
But we've had to get really good at let me know when you have a second so that you know that you're going to get their undivided attention. Because I got really tired, and you probably got really tired of talking to my forehead while it was like down and emailing or vice versa. And it just makes you feel frustrated more than anything.
So I think you got to ask for and give your partner full attention. Look your partner in the eye. No texting, no checking emails, no doing your nails, no flipping through Instagram. Just stop and listen. I think that goes a long way when it comes to communication. The second thing I'll say is similar. It's just listen and don't interrupt. And I'm terrible about this. Like, especially if it's a disagreement. Like between two couples, I think the biggest problem is nobody really wants to listen to the other person because they're already like, you're just waiting for your chance to say what it is you want to say.
Yeah.
You're rehearsing in your head what it is you're going to say before the other person even stops. And so I think that, again, just patiently listening, not interrupting, allowing the other person to finish is really important.
Yep, that's good. Third one,
reflect back to your partner what you think your partner's saying. I think this is huge.
That is so helpful.
Yep. It's just saying, hey, what I heard you saying is, if I understood you correctly, I think you're feeling this. Man, because number one, not only are you clarifying, right? Because we all, listen and hear different things, right?
Yeah.
So we may not hear what you're saying accurately, but number two, it makes the other person feel so heard and understood.
Oh my gosh, it takes your guard down immediately. That's good.
Fourth, and this is a hard one for dudes, unless you're directly asked, you don't have to give advice or jump to solve the problem. Do I not do that 95% of the time?
95% of the time, and it's very frustrating. I think as women, or even if you do this as a man, you know the heart behind it, but it's like that's not what you want in that moment. You want to feel like someone understands what you're saying, and not that it's so easy you could just solve it. Like it for some reason it actually takes you backwards.
Yeah, I put that one in there because I'm like, I have to be reminded of that constantly because I just want to jump to solution mode. And because I be honest with you, most of the conversations I have throughout the day are with people who are wanting an answer about something. They're wanting a solution. They want to know the way. And so it's hard to turn that off.
I get that.
I think in a casual or...
But you can do that if you're asked that, right?
Yes,
like if it's like, hey,
absolutely.
I need your help, obviously that's a different situation. But if your spouse or, someone you're dating or your friends come to you and they're just like word vomiting all of their pain or hurts from the day, like, just listen. And, sometimes as crazy women, not that women are crazy, we're not crazy, but sometimes our emotions get the better of us. And if you don't solve it, sometimes we sit there and we're like, well, he's not in this. He doesn't know. Yeah. So men, I'm sorry. I am sorry.
Last one, watch your tone, Jordyn. It's not often
My
what you
tone.
say. It's how you say it.
I agree. I think my face speaks more than my words do.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Tone is everything. Inflection is everything. I can remember things I've said to you, like in an argument. I remember there was a box out by the garage door for, I think the day, like that day I had put it out there. It was cold. I didn't feel like walking out to the trash can outside. So I was like, I'll get it eventually. And I think like you went to get it and you're like, do you need this? And I said something. And the words were fine. It was my tone.
Was,
I was mad. I was mean. Deep. I basically was like, do you think I leave boxes that I need by the door? No. Anyway, that was rude.
I was trying to be helpful.
Anyways. No, those are good. Communication's hard, especially right now. But
and I just think practice, work on it, give each other feedback. But next question, you ready for this? This one's for you, Jordyn, and it came in a couple different forms. Essentially, it's you got any advice on being a stepmom? And this is new to you. Like you're about to be a mom for the first time ever.
Yeah.
But before that, like you walked into a marriage where I had 3 teenage boys. So you got any advice on that? Can't wait to hear this.
Me too. No, first and foremost, not an expert. We're not experts on any of these questions, but I, just like you just said, I am not a mom. So I, in my heart, my intent was never to be their mom. They have an awesome mom. She's super active in their life. And I could never be that, and I don't want to be that. They have that role already. And, I don't really see myself even. I hate that word stepmom. I know that's weird. I just don't.
We use bonus mom.
We use bonus mom. And they don't call me bonus mom. That's just how we refer to it. I don't know. There's just something, a connotation with step that I just don't love. Anyways, all that to say, I think, the role that I have chosen to take is just to be there.
Yeah.
To be present and to be like, I'm at their games. I help them with homework. I'm talking to them about the girls, but I'm not inserting myself in such a way that I try to be an authority figure in any way.
You're not trying too hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was the ultimate thing, is like, I didn't want to come across like I'm trying to prove my place in the family, or I'm trying to prove that I love you, or that I have a space in this home. Like, there's just, to me, that was a backwards movement.
Yep.
So I just tried to enter slowly and do so in a way that was conducive for them. And they're older, they're teenagers, right? So I understand that there's women out there, you have stepchildren that are young, and you have to help parent, and you have to be more of a mother figure. But in our situation, that's kind of how we embrace that.
I think every situation is always going to be different in what role a bonus mom or a bonus dad might play. I think what has made you so successful in that role is your confidence. You're confident in what you should do and confident in what is not your place. And I love that. And I think that puts me at ease. It puts the boys at ease. You have navigated that masterfully. And I can't imagine especially for you bonus mom and dads that weren't a mom and dad before you walked into that situation. It's like, I feel so ill-equipped as a dad, and I've had years and years and years to work into it. And sometimes a bonus mom or dad all of a sudden is like thrown into it, 5 years into it, 10 years, 15 years into it. And I just can't imagine how difficult that is. So,
well, you have great boys, and you guys have done a really good job raising them. So it's easy to be a friend to them.
Yep. Okay.
All right, next question.
Third question. What advice would you give a couple that is on two opposite ends of the spectrum politically? I thought this was a great question.
Yeah, this is a good
And I'm
question.
sure this has been popping up. I don't think a whole lot about this because you and I are on the same page politically. Yeah. But I think, let's think broader. I'll start with the politics thing, but let's think broader, because I think in any relationship of friendship, relationships at work, even marriages, you're going to have differences, and how you handle those is key.
Yeah.
I think it's really key. I actually read this week I can't remember what I read this in. Might have been in USA Today, probably. I get most of my stats from. It said that about 25% of Republicans and Democrats are married to someone of the opposite party.
That's wow.
It's a lot.
I didn't think it was that high.
I know.
That's impressive.
It was more than I thought.
Okay.
And I think what's interesting is we're in a political climate where it's not enough to disagree with someone, but you have to destroy them and everything that they stand for in the process. So I can see why there might be a lot of tension.
Oh yeah. Well,
relationships right now.
It can be boiled down to your character, your decision making, your judgment. It spirals quickly.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to give you three things.
Yep.
The first one is this. I think you got to acknowledge your partner's opinion. When you don't agree with them about anything, whether it has to do with religion, whether it has to do with politics, whether it has to do with how you raise your kids, I think it's important to recognize their point of view and your willingness to listen to them as they share it. So acknowledge your partner's opinion. Number two, seek understanding. Ask them why they think differently than you do. Why is it that they think differently about that, idea out of the Bible? Why is it that they think differently about how they should vote when it comes to health care? Why? I think that's that curiosity piece we've talked about before, which I think is so key inside of every relationship. We have to remain curious about the other person.
Yeah, you just want to feel known, right? You want to feel heard and known, and that's a big piece of this whole thing. Is you want to feel like you're understood, whether you're agreed upon or not.
Yep. And the third thing is just agree to disagree. I think
that's hard.
Every healthy relationship has to learn to do that at some point. If it's going to last, you have to learn how to agree to disagree. Just respectfully disagree with the other person, because the idea of agreeing on everything is just unrealistic. And if you always feel like you have to convince the people that you're in a relationship with to think exactly like you, man, I think that's a boring relationship that's not going to have a whole lot of growth to it.
No, yeah, there's no sharpening at all. It's just following.
Yeah, so here's the bottom line for me. if you find yourself in a relationship with somebody who thinks much differently than you do about any major topic, you have to decide if you want to be right or if you want to be in a relationship with that person.
That's good.
Because if you have to be right, eventually it's probably going to erode that relationship.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's never going to be a relationship in which you can always be right and have it be intimate.
No. And as long as I have respect for you, then we can disagree politically, and we can disagree about exactly how to raise kids in every instance, and we can disagree about certain religious matters. And like, if I respect you, then I can respect your point of view. And I think that's kind of what we lost in a lot of our relationships that we've bounced on because they didn't think exactly like we think. For some reason, we just didn't have respect for that person.
Yeah, that's good.
So
respect. It boils down to respect.
That's really key. And also, we just did a whole episode on conflict. And part of that was that conflict worksheet.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you, if you feel like you're like in some really entrenched conflict,
Yep.
maybe go back.
Episode 16.
Episode 16. And how do they get to that?
Yeah, just go to theplaceforgood.com. So theplaceforgood.com/conflict. And there's a worksheet. It walks you through kind of how to initiate that conversation of repairing kind of that disagreement that you
Based
had.
on episode 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good
I think
stuff.
that's good.
Okay, next question.
All right, this is a tough one. We got a bunch of these too. It's how do you deal with an unhappy ex-husband or ex-wife? And wow, that's a tough one. And I've for years and years and years heard stories of how people have tried to kind of navigate that. And for those of you who have been through a divorce, you have an ex-husband or you have an ex-wife, and man, I see some people have amazing relationships post-divorce, and I always have tremendous respect for those people. And then I see a whole bunch of people who have no relationship or have a very toxic relationship with their ex.
Yep.
And there's a lot of reasons for that. Maybe your ex-husband or your ex-wife didn't want the divorce, and so that's why they continue to be unhappy. Maybe they wanted the divorce, but they didn't like the fact that you've moved on with your life. I see that a whole lot. Like,
Yeah.
that.
They see you having any sort of success in it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And I get why that's hard. Also, maybe they feel like they got the short end of the stick financially, or they got the short end of the stick with how much time they get with the kids. Rarely do two people go through a divorce and walk away feeling like they both got their fair share.
Yeah, sure.
Rarely does that happen. So I think there's a lot of different things you got to work through. And let's just be honest. It's just a different deal if you have kids.
Oh yeah. For those of you who don't know me, I was married, got a divorce. I was married a year. So not a very long time, but we didn't have kids.
Right.
And that made our divorce it's just
Different.
Different.
It is different. And you have a different set of boundaries and everything if you don't have kids.
You don't ever have
right?
to communicate with that
Yeah,
person.
you don't have to do a lot. But if you have kids, you don't have a choice. Like you have to have some sort of, in my opinion, relationship. You're more than likely co-parenting. You're working through things like that. And so I just think if you have kids, you really got to work on this. And I think it might be one of the biggest tests of your life, but you got to work on this. And I was really lucky to, I say lucky, no kid's lucky for their parents to get a divorce. The lucky part for me is that I had parents that for the most part modeled what it could look like post-divorce. And I always felt like both my mom and my dad supported me. Both my mom and my dad would show up at events together. They were cordial with one another. My dad, I feel like, wrote the book on this for me because I never, to this day, I still have not ever heard my dad say a negative word about my mom.
So huge.
And I know now how difficult that is for anybody, right, that goes through a divorce, to not want to insert how they thought they were right or how they think they were wronged. So my dad gave me a shining example there that I try to live up to. And so I think that, and it comes down to focus, I think, for a lot of people. I think most people tend to, when they have an ex in their life, they tend to focus on the negative in order to justify the divorce that they got. And that is never going to lead to a positive relationship. What I'm trying to do is I want to focus on the positives. I have an ex who's a tremendous mom. I have an ex who, when I look back, I am grateful for the fact that we had the years together that we did, because I have 3 amazing kids as a result of that. I
Yeah.
want to focus on those positive things.
Yeah.
Therefore, I don't ever speak negative
Yeah.
about my ex-wife. I want to protect my kids' relationship with her.
Absolutely. That's so, I'm going to stop you right there because that is so huge. It can sound like, oh, look how good you are about never speaking negative publicly or to whomever. But when it boils down to your boys, that is the biggest thing, like the weight that they would have to carry if they heard you negatively speaking about their mom or vice versa. You don't think about the weight that puts on them. And that's the biggest motivator, I think.
Yep. And so I want to regularly compliment her on the job she's doing, both privately and publicly.
And you do that. Yeah.
I think that's really important. We talk about my ex-wife in our home regularly, with the kids around. Like we don't want her name to be a bad word in our house, right? We want to celebrate her, and that she is a part, essentially, of our extended family.
Yeah,
because she's their mom.
You don't want to like pretend like things that maybe your boys did with her last weekend was unspoken. Like, I don't want to talk about the vacation you guys had. I don't want to talk about what you guys did yesterday. Like, that's not healthy. Like, you're forcing 2 separate lives at that point. Obviously, it's already hard enough when they're in between homes, but as soon as you could draw that line and make the communication of even her role in their lives separate, then it really makes it feel like they're in their hearts, they're having to please 2 different sides, and that's just horrible. Like, that's not their responsibility.
Yep. So every time I talk about this with people, and I get it, I know how hard this is, people jump to, yeah, but my ex did this, and my ex did that. And listen, I have heard it all, and there's like crazy stuff out there. I think you'll struggle as long as you put people in categories of good and bad. As long as you put your ex-husband or ex-wife in a category of good or bad, saint or sinner, you're going to really struggle, because for the most part, I believe that even the most hateful actions of another person don't happen in malice. They happen in ignorance, right? And Jesus said from the cross, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. In other words, Father, forgive them, for they are not aware. He didn't say, Father, forgive them because they're bad. Father, forgive them because they're just angry and out of control. Father, forgive them because they live to spite me. No, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They're just unaware. Now, I'm not saying you should be a doormat for somebody else's lies or their hateful actions. I'm just saying, just observe in yourself the marvelous change that happens when you stop seeing people as good and bad. Everything changes. And you got to learn to do this for yourself. You got to do this for your marriage. If you're remarried, you got to do this for your relationship with your kids, if you have kids.
And for your own health.
Yes.
Like, as a human being, for your soul to, like, if you have a ex-husband who's unhappy or ex-wife who's unhappy, ultimately, like, you holding that resentment changes nothing in that person. It only punishes you. And so I think that's a big thing you and I have had to learn is, like, nothing we do, say, feel in our hearts is going to ultimately change another person, especially one that you're not in a relationship with. So that's a really important thing, is to know you can harbor all the resentment and anger and, but they are this as you want, but ultimately it's deteriorating your soul.
And of course, hey, listen, of course you're going to get angry.
Sure,
of course you're going to disagree with them about how they handle the kids. You got a divorce from them, right? Of course you see things quite differently than they do. But I think the key is this: resentment never stays between you and the person you have the resentment for. Never.
True.
Resentment spreads far and wide, and it will ultimately impact every one of your relationships. And I believe, I have no data to back this up, but I believe this is why second marriages fail at such a high percentage rate, because there's still some leftover bitterness from the last marriage.
They're holding them to things that they never even.
And listen, that bitterness you have towards that ex-husband or ex-wife is going to impact your relationship with your kids. It's going to impact the relationship you have with your new boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, your friends, your coworkers. It just goes far and wide. So you just got to learn and make a decision, essentially. Do you want to win, or do you want to live at peace? And as long as you're trying to win some invisible battle with your ex, you're not going to have peace. Do you want to build a case or do you want to build a bridge? And it's never going to be easy, but that's why I said I think it's going to be one of the biggest tests of your life. But I think it's an important one.
And even if it's a one-sided bridge, you know, like
Absolutely.
maybe both of you guys are not willing to build that bridge. But again, if you just at least extend yours, that's your health, you know.
For sure.
Okay. Well,
All right.
next one.
Let's see. The fifth question was about age difference. How do we handle our age difference?
Yes. So we have an age difference. I don't know if you know. How far apart are we? This is a good question for you. I don't know if you know exactly.
We're 15 years apart.
15 years apart. And
I'd say the hardest thing for me is just, you know, I have to be patient with the fact she doesn't have as much energy as me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, what I was about to say was really kind. So
Okay. I'm sorry. I take it back. Say something kind, please.
You know, I literally, when I say this, I mean this. I never think about it. You have such high energy, and since I was 12 years old, have been just this old soul. I've always had older friends than me. I've always hung out with my parents and their friends and my aunts and uncle. Like, it's just me. I just love to be around people who have like experience and wisdom. Anyway, like you.
Thank you.
No, but you keep me young in a weird way. You like make me go and like have adventures, and you just have a very young spirit. So I don't think about it except for in certain times.
Technology.
Yeah. Like getting this man to like attach something to an email as a PDF.
If it helps
or something.
you out at all, like 30 years ago, I stunk at technology.
I'm sure. No, like that stuff, or like I'll send you a meme on Instagram that I think is hysterical and you don't get it. Like you just don't at all get it.
My hardest thing is you did not live in my favorite decade, which was the 80s. I mean, you were born at the tail end, but you didn't live through the 80s. You didn't get to sit down and watch Dukes of Hazzard on Friday nights. You didn't get to watch Family Ties with Alex P. Keaton / Michael J. Fox.
You didn't rock out to the Backstreet Boys or Spice Girls. So.
Actually, I did.
Oh, Lordy.
So anyway, it at least to date has not been a big deal at all.
I think, and there's probably a very small portion of people we're talking to at this point, but it is only a big deal if you make it a big deal. And for us, it's just not we love each other's heart and soul. And though my body might be younger and fresher, I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
Whoever submitted this, I love you.
Ever.
No. Okay. That's good. That's funny.
All right. Switching gears. Last question. This one was kind of a heavy one. It's how do I build back my spouse's trust? And I'll tell you what, I'm
assuming this is in a relationship.
Yeah,
like
and I'm not going to go into details. They left as many as they possibly could in that form. And my heart broke for this person because you could just tell they're fighting hard for this relationship and they've broken trust. So I'm gonna try to do this justice here and just say this. Couple steps. Number one, apologize sincerely if you haven't. Again, if you're in a relationship that you're trying to make the relationship work, trust has been broken. There obviously has to be a genuine apology.
Sure.
It's start by trying to make amends, and it's important to acknowledge whatever mistake you made that broke trust, and it could be a lot of different things, right? That apology isn't a time for you to justify your actions or explain the situation, although I'm sure there's lots of things around it. Things are rarely as simple as they sometimes seem. There's usually a lot of layers there. But that's not the time for the layers.
Yeah, layers can come, just not in that moment.
Apologize sincerely. Secondly, be specific. For example, instead of saying, I'm sorry I hurt you, try something like this. I'm sorry I lied to you about where I was going. I know I should have told you the truth, and I regret causing you pain. I want you to know I'm never going to do this again. Like, be as specific as you possibly can be. I think that's really important. That way they don't fill in the gaps.
Yeah, I like the specifics. There's something called an apology language. So similar to love languages, there's actually types of apologies that people accept easier.
That's good. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. So it depends on your personality. But a lot of people's apology language is they want you to acknowledge specifically how it hindered them. Other people like for you to say, I'm sorry, and then give them space. It's a very interesting thing. I encourage you to look that up. But we are wired in such a way that you want specifics. Like you want to be acknowledged in the exact way that you felt something.
I'm so glad you reminded me of that because I have actually forgot that. I want to remember that next time.
Yeah.
I'm working on that with you.
Good.
The third one seems obvious, but this often gets missed is ask your partner what they need. What do they need? Like again, if you're the one that's broken that trust, whatever it is, this could be a financial thing. It's not just a sexual thing or an emotional thing. It could be a lot of different ways that we break trust, right? Ask what do you need from me in order to be able to trust again? This may mean communicating more regularly. It may mean them spending more time together. It may mean
initiating boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. It may mean going to counseling. It may mean that they just need some time away from you, which, by the way, is I have over the years tried to help somebody build back trust with a partner that they had broke that. When that other person needs space, that seems to be the hardest thing for the person, the offender, to deal with.
Because you have no control.
No control. And they think that this means the relationship's going to end.
Yeah.
And so I know that's difficult to face, but respecting your partner's boundaries can go just goes a long way in helping them be able to trust you again. Yeah. So I think that's key. That's good. And then the fourth one, no one ever likes hearing this one either, is accept that it's going to take time. It just is. You got to be patient with your partner. You can't rush this, and trying to speed up the process along the way may make your partner feel like you're not respecting their feelings. And so instead of focusing on something that you can't control, which is time, focus on the thing that you can control, which is being reliable and being consistent.
Yeah.
But again, I've been on both sides of that inside of a relationship. It's not easy, but it can be done. Mm-hmm. And I really encourage the counseling part. I think having a third party walk you through that can be so helpful.
Yeah, it takes away all your bias.
Yeah, it doesn't guarantee it's going to work, but I think it's a great step. It really kind of helps you kind of work through that. So that's we're already over time, but that's kind of the 6-7 questions I felt like might be helpful. Yeah,
and I hope you guys understand the heart of this series. That was the last one for relationships. We tried to go the month of February. We are not experts. Fun. Yeah, it was fun. But we are not counselors. We are not therapists. We are no experts in relationships. We're just kind of pouring out our heart and things that we've experienced. And you've helped couples throughout your, career as well. So I don't know. I hope you guys don't hear us as like, we're smart and we know everything we're talking about. We don't. We basically pick topics because selfishly they're things that we wanted to work on in our relationship. Oh, yeah. And, I think, honestly, in the past 4 weeks, we've gotten better at how we handle conflict. Yeah. What happens when I steal your chip? Like, we know how to deal with that now. He did not steal my chip today, y'all. I'm just saying. No. I learned my lesson there. But no, this for us has been about wanting to build a stronger relationship between the two of us and learn and grow as we kind of go through this. And in the meantime, I hope that that's been helpful to some of you. I know that we had a lot of fun with this, and I'm sure we'll come back to this topic again at some point, don't you think? Oh, yeah. This is obviously super relevant in any time, not just February. Yeah. And I want to give a shout out. I talked to a girl yesterday on Instagram who's been sharing this with her fiance who is overseas. I'm not going to say his name because I didn't get permission to Marines? Do that. Yes, in the Marines. Correct? Yeah. And he's stationed overseas, and she keeps sending these, especially the relationship ones to him. And I just think that's so awesome. Again, and thank you for your service. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I love that idea of people sharing and learning together. I love that. Yeah, we love you guys. So until next week, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he smile on you and be gracious to you. May he show you his favor and give you his peace.